Hello, Cancer Risings. Welcome to our monthly zodiac reading for the month of September 2025. We are stepping into eclipse season this month, and there are a lot of transits that are jam-packed within the first 3 weeks, not so much the fourth week. So what we will do is we will get an overall energy theme for you guys. I will pull tarot for each week, discuss those cards along with the astrological transits occurring during those weeks, and then we will wrap it up, clarify with more tarot, and then wrap it up with some additional oracle guidance. So let's see what Cancer Risings need to know for the month of September. That was too many cards. Hold your vision. This is a fixed energy. So even though things are shifting, so unless you have heavy mutable placement, so you are a Cancer rising if you're watching this video, but if you're a Pisces sun or a Virgo sun, or unless you have prominent placements along the Virgo and Pisces axis in some way, yes, the eclipses could shift things around for you, but you may not feel it as heavily as those who do have prominent placements within mutable signs. So please just keep that in mind when you're listening to me or you're listening to other people discuss the eclipses, okay? But for you guys this month, it's about holding that vision. What vision do you have for your future? What are you wanting for yourself? Things are going to be shifting and moving, and there's so much upheaval within the collective that it can be really difficult to maintain that steady course. But this month, that's your focus, is to hold that vision, okay? Let's see what each week holds in store for you guys. Here in the first week, the Nine of Cups in reverse. So the Nine of Cups in reverse can represent that there's this overwhelming feeling of feeling unsatisfied, like you're not getting what you want, okay? It feels kind of pouty, like when we look at the energy of the card itself, he's sitting there with his arms crossed, but if we're looking at it upside down, like it looks a little pouty, right? We're not getting what we want, not feeling satisfied with where we're at emotionally, right? Not feeling very fulfilled and not getting what it is that we want. Here in the second week, beautiful, the Ace of Swords. So there's a new opportunity for communication, clarity, or even ideas. All right, here in the third week, we have the Empress in reverse. So the Empress in reverse can represent, she can represent a divorced or separated mother. She can also represent doing too much, like over nurturing too many people. In Cancer, when you guys, your sign is in its shadow aspects, it can represent, like, you guys are naturally nurturing to those that you care about. You're naturally protective. You're very kind and loving to those that you care about, almost to a detriment if you're not careful, if you don't have clear boundaries, or if you're trying to take on the emotions of other people and trying to save them, trying to help them, nurture them with things that really aren't your responsibility to nurture them with, you can be overdoing it, okay? So this is you could be doing too much for other people and not doing enough for yourself. And this can represent also over nurturing people, okay? Here in the last week, the Star in reverse. So there could be a struggle with faith, with healing. The Star, when it's in reverse, can feel very disconnected to purpose. You can feel very like there's a lack of faith and there's a struggle to have hope for the future, right? There's a need to really focus on healing when it comes to healing and reconnection when it comes to the Star in reverse. Here in this first week, Saturn is going retrograde within the sign of Pisces. Saturn is the planet of time, karma. It is currently retrograde now within the sign of Aries as we're doing this reading, but on September 1st, it's retrograding back at Pisces. So this means that themes that we had recently moved past, we are now revisiting. Okay, for you guys, Pisces sits in your 9th house. This is your house of higher learning. This is your house of spiritual and religious belief systems. This is your moral belief systems. This is the house of culture and long distance travel. So it could be that you're not getting what you want. You're seeing these themes pop back up again, maybe around because it's with Pisces, and Pisces also governs spirituality and unconditional love, which can be a belief system. This is what it feels like it's geared towards for you guys. Like, this is about revisiting issues where it comes to your belief systems, or maybe where others around you do not share the same belief systems that you do, and feeling very unhappy with that, very discontent with that. On the 2nd, we've got Mercury moving into the sign of Virgo. Mercury is planet of thoughts, ideas, and communication. It is the messenger, and it is moving into your 3rd house of communication, which is Virgo. So your Virgo being in your 3rd house, you're very meticulous about how you communicate. You're very focused with what it is that you want to learn, but you also have the tendency to overthink things. Okay, so with Mercury moving into your 3rd house of communication, it's giving you an opportunity to really be clear on the things that you want to say. All right. On the 6th, Uranus is going retrograde within the sign of Gemini. Uranus has been in Gemini. Uranus is an outer planet, but it is also the higher octave of Mercury. So Mercury is the thoughtful mind. Uranus is like the intuitive mind or the innovative mind. It's your aha moment. So when this energy goes inward, which is what retrogrades do, they turn the energy within. When this energy goes inward, it could mean that you kind of have these revelations around like things coming up for your subconscious. Right now, your Uranus is transiting your 12th house, which is a karmic house. This is your house of spirituality, dreams, mental health, even. It is your house of isolation, your house of hidden enemies, which is also another term for kind of self-sabotage. We are our own worst enemy when it comes to the 12th house. So with the 12th house, this is your hidden enemies, which is you. So when this energy goes reverse, you guys really could, if you're feeling very unhappy and discontent with where you are, Uranus going retrograde could actually bring something to the surface that kind of reveals this aha moment for you, okay? Here in the 2nd week, the Ace of Swords, like I said, new beginnings around communication, new beginnings around ideas. And this is when we will experience on the 7th a full moon lunar eclipse within the sign of Pisces. Again, Pisces sits in your 9th house of higher learning and your spiritual moral belief systems. So with this full moons are a buildup of energy, and eclipses have the tendency to amplify that. So it can make this very, very unsteady. But it could be that there's this clear communication. Almost feels like maybe there could be an opportunity to state a boundary when it comes to what you believe. It could be an opportunity to just communicate more around your belief systems, or maybe even have this idea of like, I really, you know what, I need to learn more about this. I need to learn more about how I feel about this belief system, or how I feel about this particular piece of information. This also governs things like philosophy, okay? But it could mean that when it comes to your higher learning and your spiritual intuitiveness, you guys are very tapped in intuitively to the unknown. Definitely there's this anchor with understanding that there is something greater than you, but whether that falls in the realms of spirituality where there's more flexibility, or where it's governed by more rules and restrictions like in religion, there's an opportunity here to learn more about something, to really, it's almost like it feels like the eclipse is going to wipe away all that is superficial, and create this sense of clarity around your spirituality and belief systems. We will also experience a Sun-Mercury cazimi within the sign of Virgo. Anytime we have a cazimi, it just means that the sun and the planet are sitting right next to each other, and the sun is amplifying the traits of that planet. So again, Mercury is thoughts, ideas, and communication. It is the messenger. So the sun is amplifying that. It could be if there is something that you need to say, the 13th is your day to say it. If there is something that, be mindful on the 13th that you really could be sparked with this new innovative idea. Okay, and it also can represent that a truth will be revealed to you. And given the eclipse energy, that could very well be possible. Okay, here in the third week could feel very overwhelming because there's a lot of energy shifting and moving that week. Okay, on the 18th, Mercury, again, the planet of thoughts, ideas, communication, and messages, is moving into the sign of Libra. Libra sits in your 4th house. This is the house of the home. This is the house of the mother. This is the house of ancestral foundations or generational foundations and emotional foundations. This also represents your physical home. So it could be that with Mercury moving into the sign of Libra, your 4th house, maybe you're just feeling overwhelmed by everything going on around you. Okay, you're just trying to do too much all at once. If that's the case, if that's how you're feeling, breath work and taking time for yourself to sit in silence so that you can calm your nervous system. Okay. On the 19th, Venus, the planet of love, money, beauty, aesthetic, and relationships, is moving into the sign of Virgo. She's not very at home in Virgo, so she's not able to express herself fully. This is your 3rd house of communication and thinking. Venus moving in there. It could be that you're trying to speak your truth. You're trying to speak about what it is that you value and what it is that you want for yourself, and where you are feeling overwhelmed. That's an opportunity to do that. This kind of feels like an opportunity. Venus moving into Virgo feels like a time for you to honor your voice and recognize that your voice does matter. Okay? On the 21st, we will experience a second new moon solar eclipse within the sign of Virgo. So again, this is hitting your 3rd house of communication and thinking. It could feel very overwhelming, especially if you're doing too much and you're not focusing on your own self-care and what it is that you want. Solar eclipses have the tendency to reveal truths, and they spark new beginnings. Eclipse season is essentially just kind of like your cosmic chiropractor. Whatever is out of alignment with your value systems, with your belief systems, the universe, the divine is coming along and is kind of readjusting what it is. Like, it's removing things from your life. It's putting things into your life to help put you back on the path that you are meant to be on. Okay. So this is when we will experience a new moon solar eclipse within the sign of Virgo. Again, this is your 3rd house of thinking and communication. Again, this has a lot to do with you feeling overwhelmed, doing too much, and maybe taking on responsibilities that don't belong to you. Okay. Here in the 4th week, this week will feel like a reprieve. There's not a lot of transits that are occurring. Let me pause right there. Hang on. We still have 2 more transits to go. On the 22nd, Mars, the planet of action, aggression, desire, assertion, power, and control, is moving into the sign of Scorpio. This is your 5th house. So it could be that when it comes to hobbies, passions, drama, maybe you're feeling a little bit more driven to focus on your own hobbies is what needs to occur here. Driven and a little bit more assertive with your own self-expression is what needs to occur here with that transit. Okay. And then we will also shift into Libra season. Libra, anytime we shift into a new astrological season, the themes and qualities of that sign begin to take center stage. The sun kind of amplifies those for about 4 weeks. And that is when we will also experience the fall equinox. And what I love about that is that Libra is very It's all about people. It's about community and network. And it's known as the social butterfly. And then what happens with the fall equinox? Fall festivals begin to take place. Like the kids have just gone back to school, fundraisers, carnivals and fairs and fall festivals all begin to start to culminate and begin happening, where we have a chance to go out, have fun, and express ourselves and just be social with those that we really have, those that we care about, and just allow us to be social and have fun. Here in the last week, like I said, you've got the star in reverse. After everything that has occurred within the first couple of weeks, this is an opportunity for you to reconnect to yourself. If you are feeling overwhelmed and you are feeling lost, like I'm doing too much, but I don't know how to correct it, here it is in the fourth week, an opportunity to reconnect to your own purpose, an opportunity to focus on healing and hope. All right. Let's see. Now that we've gone through all of that, let's see what else is happening. And with the overall energy being hold your vision, this feels like an opportunity. Yes, hold your vision. If you want a healthy relationship, hold your vision to that, but also recognize that it's your responsibility to speak up. Recognize that it's your responsibility to set boundaries. Recognize that it's your responsibility to put your needs first so that you can also show your partner what needs to occur. That's just an example. Hold the vision for your career. If you're doing too much, or if you're not putting enough energy, investing enough energy into your purpose, into your career, or what it is that you want for your future, then your reality is going to reflect that. Okay, so you're being guided to hold that vision. And if things come or go with these eclipses, understand that that is what is meant to occur. Okay, don't try to fight it. Just kind of let the waves wash over you, and just go with the ebb and flow of the energy of this month. Here in this first week, the Nine of Cups in reverse, the Magician, and the Wheel of Fortune. Very nice. This is an energy where you're like, I'm not getting what I want. And it's almost like you're saying, F it. I'm not happy here, and I am done being unhappy. The Magician is like, I am the one creating this reality. And the Wheel of Fortune is kind of like, you're the one who's in control here. Yes, there are cycles that you have to move through, but you create your reality. As above, so below. Our thoughts create our reality because they trigger the emotions that we feel within us. And then that begins to shift and take form within the material world. So if you're feeling unhappy and discontent, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? Because you've got everything you need within you to create the life that you desire. Okay? So if you're feeling unhappy, what are you going to do about it? Because once you start recognizing that you have more control than what you think you do, the energy will begin to shift and move forward in your favor. All right? So just remember that when you're feeling very discontent here in this first week, you have more control and you have more say than you think you do. Here in the second week, the Ace of Swords, and the Ace of Pentacles. Nice. So what this feels like with the Ace of Swords is recognizing. So the Eight of Pentacles, when it's in reverse, can represent self-mastery. When this card is direct, This person is mastering how to create these pentacles, right? They're refining them. It's practice, it's refinement, it's mastery. And like you're mastering something outside of you. But when this is in reverse, you could be mastering yourself within, kind of like self-discipline. And it could be that that's what this Ace of Swords is like you're like, I really need to be focusing on me. I recognize that I create this reality. So if I want to begin to hold my vision, if I want to create the reality that I desire, I have to start working within. I have to start doing the work in order to do that. Okay? And when you do, when you realize that and you start to make that shift, this is when the Ace of Pentacles comes out. This is when you now receive a new opportunity to build something tangible, to hold something in your hand, whether that is receiving a new career opportunity, whether that is receiving a new opportunity for, like I said, like higher learning, like you're getting to know yourself better by realigning and investigating your own belief system. Really tapping in to that deeper wisdom that's already innately within you. Also, for some of you, the Eight of Pentacles in reverse can represent that you think you're putting in the work, but you're not. You're not putting in the work the way you think you do. And so these new beginnings are here to, one, remind you of that, and then also give you the opportunity to start over and do it the way you're meant to. Okay? Again, whether that is with yourself and your own self-discipline and your own personal growth, whether that is with your belief systems, considering that we're talking about your house of higher learning. If you are returning to school and you're wanting to learn something new and like you're just kind of half-assing it, then this eclipse is going to remind you of that. And it's giving you the opportunity to realize that with the Ace of Swords, and it's giving you the opportunity to start over and do it the way you're supposed to with the Ace of Pentacles. Here in the third week, the Empress in reverse. You keep going back to old habits. The Empress is in reverse, so she's doing too much. She's over nurturing people. And the Six of Swords, almost like maybe you have to keep revisiting old conversations. Like you have to keep reminding someone close to you, like a spouse, a parent, a child in your life. I keep having to remind you to do this thing. And I keep having to either do it myself or I keep having to remind you to do it. It's almost like you're over mothering another person. And you keep going back to that, and it's creating a lot of anxiety. It's creating a lot of fear. Not necessarily fear, but it's definitely creating a lot of anxiety and a lot of ruminating thoughts. The things that when we go to lay down and you're like, I am so exhausted, but our brain just keeps going and going and going and going and going. And we think about all of the things that were said. We think about all of the things that we didn't say. We think about all of the things that we wanted to say. And we just keep repeating it, and we end up having insomnia and we can't sleep and we're tired the next day, and it just becomes this cycle that we're repeating. All right. Here in this third week, the main focus is if you're having to repeat a conversation, then that means that the point of the conversation was not reached. It means that the person you're having the conversation with is either not respecting your boundary or you're not communicating the boundary. And if you're communicating the boundary and that person is not respecting it, then you have no follow through with the boundary. And it's creating this cycle of resentment. It's creating this feeling of doing too much and over mothering people. You're not, unless you're an actual mother, an actual parent, it's not your job to mother someone else, especially another grown adult. Okay, that's not your job. And especially it's natural for us to want to care and hold space for our partners. But when it gets to the point where they are overly reliant on us because we've consistently done that for them. One, now we're interfering on their free will, and it creates more work for us. And so it's creating a lot of anxiety and resentment. And if that's the result of you nurturing someone else to the point of overdoing it, then that's your red flag that something needs to change and something needs to stop. All right. Again, this is all happening. This is all hitting. There's a lot happening within your Virgo house. So this is your third house of communication, early childhood, even siblings. Okay. These are all the things that encompass the third house, which is being activated by the eclipse. So if you're like over nurturing a sibling, somebody who is just unwilling to take care of themselves, if you're over nurturing a parent, if you are over nurturing a partner, it is going to continue to create a lot of stress and rumination of thoughts and just repeated conversations unless you put in a boundary and then have a consequence for that boundary. Boundaries don't mean anything if we don't stick to them. All right? There's your lecture. Here in the last week, feeling disconnected from your purpose, feeling like just hopeless and faithless. The Four of Cups in reverse, and then the High Priestess. You already know what needs to happen. But the Four of Cups is there to remind you, like, go outside and touch some grass. I know that's cliche, and a lot of people say that. It's starting to become this thing that is starting to be weaponized. But it's really true, especially with the Four of Cups here. Okay? It could be that the chaos that you feel within the family system, the chaos you feel within your life, you have become so accustomed to it that when things are peaceful, they feel like boredom. You're so accustomed to the chaos and to the uncertainty that it now feels almost exciting. All right? But this can also represent that clarity is coming in for you. You need to go outside and you need to reconnect with nature. Again, I know that sounds so cliche, but that's what's being presented here. Reconnecting with nature, reconnecting to who you are and what you want for your future. What are my core values? Where do I feel like my boundaries are being crossed? What is stressing me out in my life and what can I do about it? These are all questions that you need to ask yourself if you want to reconnect to who you are. Meditate, breath work, journal. These are all helpful tools when we begin to feel this way. And the High Priestess, she'll reveal the answer. She'll show you the truth. She'll tell you exactly what you need to do as long as you ask. But if you don't ask, she's not going to tell you anything. She's waiting for you to ask her. The High Priestess represents intuition, wisdom. She's the oracle. She reveals the truths when we are ready to hear them. And if we're not ready to hear them, she's not going to go out of her way to tell us what we need to know. So if you feel disconnected, go outside, ground your energy, and ask, what do I need to do about this situation? All right? And she'll reveal the answers, but you have to ask. Let's wrap it up. I was trying to keep these readings short, but so far it's been unsuccessful. And it's a lot of information to go over. So I might just have to accept that this time. Gentleness, 7 is a highly spiritual number, and it's deeply connected to a lot of esoteric knowledge throughout history. But what gentleness is kind of saying, like, give yourself some grace. Yes, you are the creator of your own reality. And yes, you have more control over what you think you do, like more control than what you think you do. But that don't let that turn into like self-loathing and being overly critical with yourself. You're doing the best you can with the amount of knowledge that you have at this time, with the amount of awareness that you have at this time. All right? Be gentle with yourself as you change and shift in this new direction. Stormy. It can be hard recognizing that you are your own worst enemy. It can be very challenging to recognize that you are your own worst enemy. And that part of the reason you're so stressed out is because of the choices that you're making. Okay? So it can feel very, very stormy, very, very unsettling. But what that does is that it gives us our power back, because now you know the truth and now you can take control and say, you know what? No more. I don't have to feel this way anymore. Upside down, everything feels backwards. Everything feels backwards, especially if you feel like you're making strides towards personal empowerment. Then it can feel very, very wonky when we're put in situations that almost tempt us to go back to a specific way of thinking. You're like, what just happened? Like, I was on this course and now I feel like I've made 3 steps forward, but now I've made 2 steps back. What the hell just happened? Okay, and this is the week of the eclipse, the new moon solar eclipse in Virgo. It is going to reveal truths to you. It is going to force conversations. It's going to force a sense of honesty and communication amongst a lot of people. And it can feel very much like when you say what needs to be said, if you recognize I'm doing too much and I'm over nurturing people and this needs to stop, it can feel very unsettling. And it can feel like things are upside down. Unconscious games. The subconscious, especially like Uranus going retrograde within your 12th house, the house of the subconscious, is probably bringing up, and it's probably going to put you in a lot of situations that if you really want to hold boundaries, if you want steadiness in your relationships, if you want respect in your relationships and honesty, and whatever the case may be, whatever your vision is for your future, Uranus going retrograde within the 12th house, your 12th house, is going to bring up a lot of subconscious. And that's why you're being guided to hold your vision. When you get tempted to go back to over nurturing because it's easier, those are unconscious games. Because fear and conformity and chaos feel more comfortable to you than stability and quiet. Okay? And that could be that if you're feeling, and also the high priestess, she speaks loudest in stillness. So if you've got a lot of chaos around you, go outside, like I said, touch some grass, journal, and ask certain questions. Why is this happening? How can I reconnect with myself? How can I reconnect to my purpose? How can I focus on my healing? And she will answer. You will hear the answer plain as day. And it'll probably have to do with the fact that you need to address subconscious or unconscious, not necessarily fears, but beliefs. Okay? So hold that vision. You're definitely going to be tested this month, especially here in this 3rd week. Like I said, it's going to feel like you make three steps forward and then you get knocked 2 steps back. But that's the universe testing you. If you really want this life, if you really want this vision, you're going to have to stay the course. Because a steady foundation is not built on mud. It's not built on quicksand. You can't do that. you're going to have to solidify the habits, the beliefs, and the thoughts that help you maintain that vision. And that's what this month is going to show you. So I truly hope that helped. I hope you guys have an incredible month, and we will see you next time.